Welcome to today's New Life Live podcast. Today's podcast is brought to you by you. Your donations make this podcast possible. Please consider donating today using the New Life app, visit newlife.com, or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Hi there, welcome to New Life Live here on 12/5. We're alive, 2019, coming to the end of a decade, and actually not, but because actually 20 is the end of the decade, but we call it the beginning of the decade. But anyway, with us today...
Wait, 20 is the beginning? What?
Well, you go, if you got a decade, you start with 1, and then you go to 10. Now I've got 10 years. So really, 2020 would be the end of a decade, but that isn't the way we look at it. We look at, the numeral change as the beginning. A lot of people tuned in today because they were wondering about that. And anyway, I'm not a math addict or a meth addict, but I did mention that. The guy laughing and asking, this is John Townsend who's with us today, and Dr. Dave Stoop. Glad.
Dave's laughing quietly.
I am laughing.
Yeah, Dave is laughing.
Yes. Yeah. We're glad to be here, and we love you guys, and happy December, and we really want to help a lot of people with a lot of issues, especially this very complicated season, right?
That's right. And I got to tell you, John, just the other day, I was in a meeting, and I heard this coming out of my very own mouth. Well, I don't think that there's anyone here whose life has not been impacted by John Townsend's teaching. Oh. And I meant it. And that's why I said it, because I really do try to say things that I mean. So I really love getting to do radio with you. I love being part of the Institute, the Townsend Institute with Concordia University. You can get a degree in counseling, and what are the actual degrees you could get now?
We have three tracks, Steve.
3 tracks.
In fact, you and Dave, actually, you and Dave Stoop are both fellows of the Institute. You can get a master's in counseling, a master's in executive coaching and consulting, and a master's in organizational leadership, or a credential if you don't want a master's. And we also provide a bachelor's now for people that want an online degree so they can get to the master's if they want it. So it's all online. I'm there all the time. I'm interacting with the students. We've got students from all over the world, and they're getting really, really good jobs, and we're moderately priced.
That's wonderful. Now, a lot of you would say, I love what John does, but none of that works for me. Well, there are groups, leadership groups that you can be part of in your area, and there you're learning to lead better at whatever level of leadership you have.
Right, Townsend Leadership Program, because we've got the academic arm, which is the Institute, and we've got a professional arm, small group-based leadership training with people that I've trained all around the country. So just check us out at drtownsend.com if you want to learn more about strategy or vision casting or culture or how to grow as a leader and inspire others. We're doing that around the country.
And you might be asking, well, does this guy really know what he's talking about? Well, let's go to the phone calls and let's see. Chris from Mount Holly, New Jersey, WFIL. You're on Dr. John Townsend, Dr. Dave Stoop, Steve Arterburn here. How you doing?
I'm not bad, guys. Been listening to you.
Okay.
My question is I try to explain the best way I could. Back in 1985, I went to a church for the first time, and there was a woman that totally fascinated me. And I think at that moment, I can't be sure, but I think subconsciously I had placed her in my mind as my wife. Now, this was early in 85. We got married in December of 85. But ever since, we had problems. We even moved to different locations trying to fix our problem. But I never realized it until just a few months ago that I was most likely the problem. Because I just assumed she was going to be my wife and everything would work.
Okay.
So I just kind of need, should I try and locate her and ask for her forgiveness? Or, because apparently she's ill, I'm also ill with seizures.
All right, well, let's take this break and come back and give you some help here. I'm really glad you called.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. So Chris, one of these folks that says, hey, maybe it was me. Maybe I'm the problem. What do you guys think? He's saying, should I try to find her and say, hey, I realized I was the problem, and or just let it go? What do you guys think?
How did you lose her, Chris?
Your mic's not on there, Dave, for some reason.
Is that mic right there? That's not.
No.
Oh, you're
back on, Dave. Okay, so Dave's question was, how did you lose her? What happened?
You married in 85, and now you want to find her. How did you lose her?
Well, because the whole time until she left, I kept on trying to figure out what the problem was. We had moved from New Jersey to Texas. We moved back to Jersey. We moved to a couple different spots. And it was always the problem. But this year, when I finally dawned on me, I think the very first minute, the very first day that I saw her, she fascinated me so much, I think subconsciously I put it in my mind that she was going to be my wife.
Hold on, Chris. Now, you gave us a history, but a history isn't a problem. People move around for a lot of reasons. So we get the history, but what is the problem that caused you to move so much?
So as a result of me taking for granted that she was my wife and it would just work, here's what I did that messed our marriage up. Can you give us that piece? What is it?
Well, we don't know what that is, Chris.
What is it? What did you do that was hurtful?
Well, when people call us with marriage problems, they'll say, we don't like each other, we can't communicate, somebody's on drugs, or we are always fighting, or someone's controlling someone, or someone's judging someone. Those are problems. And so can you give us a problem that caused pain in the relationship?
Well, several of them. First of all, I wasn't paying attention to what she was trying to tell me.
Now we're getting somewhere.
And I think she would. So I wasn't paying attention, thinking, what does she mean? Everything's fine. Because I wasn't processing everything.
Okay,
properly,
just put it on pause for a second. What was your wife saying that you weren't paying attention to? What things was she unhappy with that you were ignoring?
Well, that's just it, because I was ignoring, I wasn't giving it my full attention.
Oh, you don't know?
Not all of them, no. Because I assumed everything was fine, that she's the one that had the problem, not me.
All right.
Okay, so here's what I want to do, guys. Let's give him, let's just say that he's able to find her. Let's give him some words to say that might open a bridge back to her.
Well, one of the things I would want you to be able to say, Chris, is I've realized that this is the problems were started with me, and this is what I've done to deal with that, so that somehow you've dealt with it, started to deal with it at least, so that you could say, and I've been dealing with it, and these are some of the things that I'm learning in the process.
What Dave is saying is you don't want her to say, oh, so what do you realize was wrong, and what are you doing differently, or what have you done? You know, and you go, well, nothing. I just realized I didn't appreciate what you said.
Right. So now here's part two. This is part two. We can get some here, Chris. Part two is after you do that, Susie or whatever her name is. I've got a legal pad here and a pen. Tell me again all the pain you were in that I ignored, and I'm going to write for 2 hours to listen to everything I ignored the first time, because I don't even remember the pain you were telling me about. I was so sort of self-absorbed.
And I'm not going to explain or justify.
And I'm not going to say, oh, you got that wrong, Susie, or no, that wasn't correct. So I'm just going to write them down because I love you. I'll figure out what's true and not true, but I want to know what I missed all those years. And you sit there and humbly.
Thank you. That sounds excellent.
There you go, man.
Okay, now here's the other thing. I don't want you to call her till you can say these words. And I'm going to take these things and I'm going to work on them with my counselor that I'm seeing. Now that will give her, if there's any hope, great hope that, oh wow, he's going to a counselor and he's going to go over these things.
There's going to be change.
There's going to be change. So I want you to hold on. I'm going to try to find a counselor for you. But see, if you're just talking, having insight, it sounds like you're still just doing stuff on your own.
Yeah.
And that may not provide the result that you're wanting.
You got a good playbook here, Chris.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, buddy.
And I'm going to send you People Fuel, great insight there. And then I'm going to send you Dave's book, Smart Love. And I think you're really making some good progress there. We just want it to go well. But a guy that just calls up and said, I've had some new insight, but isn't doing anything based on the insight, that maybe isn't enough for somebody else. All right, how about...
Hey, Steve,
yes,
yes, John. Reminds me of one of our family's favorite movies was Dumb and Dumber, about how men, we men just don't get it sometimes. And I've been like this, too. And there's a great line where the guy says, talking about his girlfriend, and he goes, well, she's been unhappy with me about a lot of things. She said I didn't listen, but I really wasn't paying attention to what she was trying to say. It's kind of it's a male problem.
Right, There you go. That's right. All right, let's go over here to Sarah, San Diego, California. Listens on Facebook. Hey, Sarah, how are you?
Hey, I'm very fortunate to have the three great ones in the studio today.
Thank you. I feel fortunate to be with the two great ones. I'll tell you that.
Likewise.
So how can we help today? What's going on?
I'm 61, and I'm going through this huge identity crisis. I have so much going on that is, to me, very dysfunctional and disheartening. Like, I'm just totally isolating. I've been isolating the last 2 years. I put on a lot of weight. I'm now, just thinking about the regrets of, I should have spent more time with my kids. If I had to do it over again, I didn't save enough money financially for my retirement. And if I was wise with my finances, I would have been able to retire from my long, hard career as a medical professional and travel. So it's just like, I just am so miserable every day. Sometimes I just say, Lord, just take me home. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Well, I'm glad you've called. I really we want to help you. I want to help you.
Sarah, you're depressed.
Yeah, I battled depression most of my life.
You're losing the battle now.
I'm on antidepressants.
Are you getting a good counseling person, like a talk counseling as well as the medicine?
No, because that's like there's this wall up. I've had so much counseling in my life. I've been in a rehab center a couple of times, and
but you've never had counseling as a 61-year-old full of regrets. Did you know? Do you understand that?
No.
You've never let the 61-year-old Sarah, full of regret, who's stuck, get counseling.
Right.
The old Sarah had some counseling, but this Sarah has never had it. What?
What is the wall that I'm putting up? Why am I so resistant? Why am I resistant to getting help?
Well, I'll take you through a little exercise to help you. You willing to do that?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes this helps kind of jumpstart this. I want you to think through this statement with me. I'm afraid that if I go see a counselor, X will happen.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. I think a lot of things would come out that probably need to come out.
All right, so you would look forward to counseling. You would think it'd be a good thing.
Well,
do we have that?
No, I have that fear. I think you're right. There's a fear there.
Well, that's what I got. I'm going to say it again then. You just said I had. First, you said I don't have a fear when I give you the little exercise. And then you say I do have a fear. We got to get to that fear. Let me make it easier. Let me give you a menu, okay? And you can say it might be this one. All righty? You ready? Okay. One,
Okay.
I'm afraid really painful things would come up that I couldn't tolerate. Two, I'm afraid it wouldn't work because I've had so much and I'd be disappointed again.
Mm-hmm.
That's two.
One for sure.
All right.
One for sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's
Yeah.
pain inside that is still there that hurts you to think about. That feelings might come up that'd be really scary.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we've got to
Yeah.
help you with that fear, right? And Dave and Steve can help you with that.
Well, I'm going in a different track somewhat in that somehow you've got to find meaning in your life because you're giving into despair. And meaning is
Yes.
doing things that are integral to who you are in ways that you can do at 61 that maybe you couldn't do at 41. And that may give you the courage then to face what John was getting at in terms of the pain. But the interesting thing about your pain is that if you bring it to a relationship, the pain is lessened. If you keep holding on to it and reminiscing and ruminating and resenting and blaming, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you bring it to the relationship, it gets smaller and smaller.
We know this is true, Sarah, that I'm sure there's lots of stuff that's going to be hurtful to come out. Who knows? Loss or sadness or anger or anxiety, who knows? But the support that God gives to the right kind of counselor and the right kind of friends, the support is always greater than the pain. So keep that little equation in your head. Yeah, there might be some pain, but God's love and the counselor's love and the people in my life, their love and support are greater than the pain. That's how any of us wake up in the morning.
Sarah?
I agree.
Sarah, this is Steve.
I agree. And
Okay, Sarah,
Yes.
this is Steve, and I want to take a shot at this with you, okay? I think that we can either experience our pain into the problem, or we can experience our pain into the solution. And even though you're in great pain right now, I think you might be stuck because you think that the pain into the solution would be on top of the pain you're having into the problem, and you just couldn't handle it. So you just don't take the risk to get the help. But I'm going to tell you something.
yes.
When you start that painful process of solving this, getting the counselor, moving toward something good, it doesn't add to your pain. It replaces a negative kind of purposeless pain with a more purposeful pain that leads you where you want to go. And there are people all over this world at 61 that die because they're afraid of the healthy pain it takes to transform. So I am going to ask you to hold on and let me put you in touch with a counselor in San Diego and let that person introduce you to some of the wonderful, productive pain that happens when we start to solve the problem. Would you be willing to do that?
Yes, I would be. And I
And
just
you-
wanted to add that I am battling bladder cancer as well.
Oh, sorry to hear
I've
that.
had
All the more reason we've got to get this thing rolling here. Right?
Right. Yes.
And I
I'm
believe
willing
if
to get
we spent a day with you, we would all be saying, no wonder you feel stuck, that you're in pain, and it's so hard to just do the next right thing. But I'm just going to encourage you, and we're going to keep you on the phone, and we're going to help you with that. And I'm going to send you two things. I'm going to send you the Restoration Bible. I just had somebody the other day say, this is so helpful to me. I'm going to send you Take Your Life Back. I'm going to send you three things. And I'm going to send you People Fuel. 3 investments from us into your life. And then we're going to find that counselor for you. And then I want you to call us in 6 months and tell us how much progress that you've made here. I'm so glad that you called.
And Steve, what I want us to hear is community, like the good,
Amen.
a good therapist and all these resources. and then breaking that wall of isolation to know what it feels like to really be connected and attached to people who care about you. Really want to see
community starts in a really healthy women's Bible study, or a support group, an Al-Anon group,
Or a
life
counseling
recovery
relationship.
group, counseling relationship. That's where it begins.
We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here with John Townsend, and we've mentioned it, the Townsend Institute. There are great leadership programs where you can learn to be a great leader, whatever level.
Or a great counselor?
Great counselor, or just a great dog owner. Whatever you're going through, John's got an answer for it.
And we're signing up our students left and right, because our new spring semester is in March. So get your application in. We try to make it really easy to get in.
All right, 1-800-NEW LIFE if you need information on John, or you can go to his little website again. And what is it there?
drtownsend.com. It's called littledrtownsend.com.
Yeah, little DR.
No, it's not.
All right, I just had a little John at Jimmy John's sandwich. Anyway, that's beside the point. All right, I hope that we're helpful there to Sarah. I really appreciate that she called. How about Louise? Have we talked to Louise?
We have
Louise,
not.
how you doing?
Yes, thank you so very much for taking my call, and I'm very, very grateful for your service.
Thank you.
Can you
Well,
hear
thank
me?
you.
Hear you just fine.
Yeah, how could we help you, or how could we try to attempt to help you today?
Would you like me my question first, or just
Sure.
give you
Yeah,
some
that-
background?
Rarely happens, so
Okay.
yeah, we love that question.
In fact, you might be our favorite caller of the year
Yeah.
to say that.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Well, my question is, I want to know. I'm trying to figure out why my husband has never shown any interest in me sexually, and recently I found out that he's not interested in having a spiritual connection with me either, even
How
though
long
he was a pastor. He pastored for quite a few years.
Okay, how long have you been married?
Only a year.
How long did you date?
A little over a year.
Why did you think he was the one for you at this stage in your life?
He was just, seems like he was just the perfect person for me, and he treats me very nice. He's just a very nice person in general.
And what happened to
And
his previous marriage?
He really pursued me,
Okay.
and I was grateful to have someone that I knew or believed that he's a man of God. I still believe that
Okay.
he's a man of God, and that was very important to me.
What happened to his previous marriage?
His wife passed away, and so
Okay.
did my husband.
All right, so you want to know what could it be that would cause him to marry you, but then once you're married, there's no desire for you for sexual intimacy, and really he's not stepping up and being any kind of spiritual leader or wanting to connect spiritually. Is that right?
That is correct.
Sounds like to me, I mean, rather than calling visiting angels to have somebody, whatever that healthcare group is that comes into your home, rather than getting somebody to come in and take care of, he married you. I think that's horrible. And I just wonder what's going on with him. If he's how long ago did his wife die before you guys got together?
His wife died more recently than my spouse. His wife died in 2016, I think.
Okay,
can't
so
remember.
then
I
you
think
got married in
maybe-
you were married in
2018.
2018?
Well,
we got married in December of 2018.
can I really ask a really simple question? When you said to us, why does my husband not engage in those things, have you asked your husband that question?
Yes, I have, and
What answer do you get?
and he gives all kinds of excuses or reasons, and that really don't make any sense.
Well, give us the
what he
top
said,
the top
what
one
he-
about
he
sex
said
and the
what-
top one about spiritual matters. So we just get a feel for what his reasoning is. What's the top excuse about no sex and the top excuse about no spiritual engagement?
Okay, well, the spiritual thing most recently, I always had my spouse, my previous spouse, we always had devotion. And so that's very important to me because I found out that it's very, very helpful to have devotion in your home with your family. So anyway, so I would always, ask him to let's have devotion. And, he never seemed to mind, but I always, I asked him, since you pastored, for so many years, why don't you ever, approach me? Why don't you ever ask me to have devotion? Why do I always have to ask you about having devotion? And, he really didn't give me, I don't remember what he said. But anyway, most recently, when I asked him to have devotion, and I asked him again, why doesn't he ever initiate devotion? And, he got very defensive and got kind of angry. And I think he thinks that I'm making or insinuating that he's less spiritual than I am.
Okay. All right. We're going to go to a break, but we're still getting a little information. We're going to help you on the other end. What is the number one excuse that he gives you for not having sexual relations?
He said that he's not in the mood. I think that's the number one reason.
All right. Now, before we go to the break, are you guys close emotionally? Vulnerable?
I think
intimate?
So.
You really can be emotionally frank and honest and vulnerable with each other?
Yes, he had a problem with not being very truthful early on, but I feel like he's better now.
Okay. I kind of don't think that's true, but let's think about that. Generally speaking, spiritual things and sexual things and emotional things kind of all go together. So, but we'll help you on the other end.
We'll take a break, come right back for New Life Live. Really glad you're with us today.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay in the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you a set of 4 devotionals, 100 Days of Character, Peace, Prayer, and the newly released 100 Days of Healing. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops.
I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's been immensely helpful to me. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back, and we're talking to Louise about her husband, and John was just pointing out at the break, it's so hard to, we're not talking to him, know what's really going on there. John, what is the best help that we could give her, not really knowing what's going on with him?
Louise, unfortunately, we can't answer your question. Because we were brainstorming, and we all do a lot of work in this field, but we came up with maybe 100 of things that could be going on with your husband, and he's not here to talk about and interview him. So here's what we're going to do. Instead of trying to figure out what's wrong with a husband that's not here, that's not on the radio with us, I'm going to give you a little scenario, and it's going to be this. It's a conversation you have with him where you say, I love our friendship. We have got a friendship, Bill, but I miss the spiritual initiative. You're not taking initiative, and I miss sexual intimacy. And so I know that I've asked you several times, and I don't want to be a nag anymore because I don't want to bug you. So I'm going to go to a good counselor to learn how to live with a husband who doesn't want sex or doesn't want to take spiritual initiative. And I would love for you to go with me. I would I would be so thankful if you go get marital counseling with me to unearth the reasons why. And if he goes, I'm too busy, or you don't believe me, or then you go, okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to bug you. I'll go get marital counseling by myself. And that's the key word, Louise. I'm going to get marital counseling on how to make it better with me and you all by myself. Now, Louise, I'm not trying to be disingenuous here, but I can know how the person feels when somebody says that. They generally go, hey, I'd like to be on that conversation. If you're talking about how to affect me, I want to sit in that chair too. And more times than not, the spouse will go, okay, I'll be there. So you go get help, get a conversation about those two areas, and invite him warmly to attend with you. And I'm going to send you Rescue Your Love Life, which is a book we wrote about all
there
that.
You go. All right, and Louise, we're going to tell you off the air about our marriage intensive.
Great
February
idea.
14th. It could turn your marriage
Great
around.
idea.
And Mylon and Kay do it with me, and it really is just a phenomenal experience. And so we'll tell you all about that. And I'm glad that you called. Also, want to mention to everybody, it is getting close to Christmas. We've got great gifts that you could give somebody by calling 1-800-NEW LIFE. We've got Bibles and books that really could change people's lives. And tomorrow we're doing Every Man's Battle in Denver. That's tomorrow in Denver. January 10th we're going to D.C. But you could still get into Every Man's Battle in Denver. And then the Intimacy in Marriage I mentioned February the 14th in Orange County. Restore February the 28th. We really want to help you. You have to call us first. Please do. Let's go to Noel, Annapolis, Maryland. WAVA is the station. Hi there, Noel. How can we help you today? What's going on?
Well, hi there. I have a niece, and I wanted to ask if she should get a legal separation from her husband so that she's not financially responsible because her husband has relapsed. He has moved out, he has lost his job, and he is spending their savings. She has a 2-year-old, and she's 4 months pregnant with their second child.
Well, it does sound like she needs to do whatever she can to secure her future and this for the child. Absolutely. I think a lot of people say, oh, wow, what is that? But, man, I'm telling you, a woman with a child and then he's relapsed and just spending all the money, help her to help herself and protect herself. What do you guys think, Dave?
Well,
John?
She obviously should start with an attorney to get consultation as to how to do it so that it stands up. But you've got to protect your money. And,
Okay. Okay. My husband's an accountant, and I suggested that, but okay.
No, you don't suggest that he goes to the attorney with you. You go to the attorney yourself and find out what you can do to protect yourself.
No, it's his.
Okay.
It's his niece, Jackie.
The niece. And look, we're not saying she should divorce him. We're just saying, hey, let's get some protection here, and then maybe that would actually even wake him up a little bit. John, thought here?
The only thought was a warning, which is that your niece say to him, I will be going to court. I want to give you one last chance. You got 48 hours to start supporting us after you left us. And if it doesn't come, then you have to go to the attorney.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one thing, though, is if she alerts him, he might take all the...
Oh, he might drain the resources?
And,
well, Steve...
He might.
Steve, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get us. I mean,
that's exactly
that was a
right.
pretty good thought, Steve.
I'm really high on that MMPI paranoid thing.
You know what? Steve's got a good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
So just talk to an attorney about it. I think that's a great thing that you could do for her and get the best advice possible. Speaking of great, by the way, I'll send you Take Your Life Back to get to her. I think that'll help her. And then People Fuel, we'll send that too. Speaking of advice, got Larry Sonnenberg in the studio. And Larry, you are very good at giving people advice on where to invest the money that they want to give back to God's kingdom to have the most impact. And, of course, I'm talking about right
Right here, that's right.
And
Larry is the Merlin of money. He's the Freud of finance.
he really is. He's not.
He's the
not
Gandalf
bin
of the gold.
bankruptcy. Yeah.
And he's the Yoda of the euro.
He really is. So, Larry,
Okay.
you rule the rupee, and let's talk about this here. Let's do it.
Well, a couple things. One, you were
And
just
he's the boss of the Bitcoin.
He really is. He absolutely is.
Oh man. Well, you were talking about every man's battle, Steve, and it starts today. And I just happened to have a testimony from a guy who went recently, and I want to read that. Then I want to share
All right, do it.
couple of facts about giving real quick.
Okay.
This workshop has been a great experience. For most of my life, I was ashamed of what I would do while alone. This weekend started with no shame, and it let me be honest with myself. It made me look at myself to see what I was pretending to be. Then I focused on what my action have cost me, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. I had not realized that I was wounded, but held it. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading his writing, but I held it in. That Satan had convinced me of the 3 I's, that I am incompetent, I'm insignificant, and I'm impotent. This weekend gave me tools to combat the enemy, new brothers in Christ that will help me fight the war, and to realize God's grace is sufficient. And that's why we ask you folks to give. This guy's life's going to be different forever. He found something different. And if that's not a reason to give, I want to give you 4 little tidbits that I was looking up about giving. Givers are happier than non-givers. That's a scientific fact that giving makes you feel good. 2, people who earn less give more. That's IRS data.
People that earn less, they give more.
Yeah,
Okay.
the less people earn, the more likely they are to give to help others. Giving is contagious. People catch on. They want to be a part of a bigger movement. So it's contagious. And then this one, Americans, you got to rise up here. Australians love giving. A recent poll found Australia is the most generous country in the world. Over 2/3 of the population regularly make donations. Ireland came in second, and Canada third. And I'm ashamed that America is not number 1. So let's get on the bandwagon. Give your money to New Life, and let's change
Bizarre.
that. Isn't that
That is
bizarre?
crazy. Yeah.
Hey,
All right.
I can tell you something about that data you read.
Yeah.
Scientifically, we
Yeah.
know this from neuroscience about how oxytocin gets released when good things happen, and so we found out that when you do give altruistically of your money or time or whatever, you feel great inside. It's the exact same experience and the exact same hormone that you have after a great meal or after sex. So give a lot, have a great meal, and everything else takes care of itself.
There you go.
So the more sexually dysfunctional you are, the more you want to give, because the more joy can come back into your life.
God came
That's
up
good.
with the
Thank you,
oxytocin.
John.
We didn't.
You're the Dr. Phil of philanthropy.
He really is. He absolutely
You've been thinking
is.
about that the whole time.
So we just want to we want to encourage you to
give. It's the season of giving.
We're going to help people with it, and there's nothing greater to see somebody spiritually dead come alive.
Yes.
You can be the key to your own self coming alive with generosity.
You know, we laugh about it, but giving close to 20% of the donations given to New Life happens in the month of December.
Yeah.
And so we really count on your giving at the year end. We don't always
Please
understand
do.
why you wait till year end, but we're here
But
to receive
we're not
it.
shaming you either.
No,
We love you.
absolutely not.
Not an ounce of shame.
So
there.
thank you for
Right,
giving.
anytime.
We'll be back right after this. 1-800-NEW-LIFE to talk about how you could help us help others. Also, you could talk about how we could help you. Because it's a tough time of year for a lot of people. And some of you, I mean, you were raked over the coals during that Thanksgiving meal. Well, we can help you with that. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We're back. Steve Arterburn here. Dr. John Townsend. Dr. Dave Stoop. You know, Dave's son developed the New Life app. For all you, the Life Recovery app. Sorry.
Life
for all
Recovery
you
app.
love that Life Recovery Bible, he developed an app for it. And you just go to the App Store, download it. It's the Life Recovery app, and it helps you stay on track there with the recovery that you're in.
It even counts your days of sobriety or rest of recovery.
Mm-hmm. That's right. All right. So really grateful to have that. Let's go back to the phones and talk with Julia, New York, listens on Sirius XM, channel 131 at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Hi, Julia.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for your talent and sharing it with people in need like myself. I appreciate that you're available.
Sure.
Well, thank you for thanking us. How can we help today?
I am in a marriage of 25 years. I have 5 children, ages 12 to 19. My kids are good kids. They're faithful kids. We, have God in our hearts and in our lives every day. My husband is a functional alcoholic. I didn't realize it until 7 years ago when his business failed. He was self-employed. And the drinking became more apparent and the behavior change became apparent. I put myself in Al-Anon, and from that I learned a lot of the behaviors that he had.
Good. Hey, Julia, let me interrupt you. You are a rock star. Goodness gracious. I'm hearing the narrative. 5 kids, functional alcoholic husband. As soon as you saw the problem, you went to Al-Anon. I don't know what the rest of the narrative is, but way to go so far.
My husband, it's a cyclic disease, and there's good days and there's bad. He's not physically abusive at all, and I wouldn't even say it's verbally. It's almost like an allergy to the alcohol. His behavior just changes, and it becomes a lack of patience. He could have something on the floor, and today it could be fine, and tomorrow the same piece of paper could be there, and it'll be a big deal. Now my kids are older. Before they were younger, and they're able to voice their feelings, and I've put them in counseling, and through counseling, the counselor basically told me that they've checked out, that they're done, that they're just waiting for me to decide what I want to do, and they have a lot of anger towards me that I stayed.
Right.
And some of them feel like I'm their mother and I should have protected them from the behaviors that he had as far as negativity, hurting them emotionally. And a lot of it took place in the evening hours when I worked, and I didn't know what was happening.
Okay. So how can we help you today?
I don't know why I stay. And I, in the beginning, felt God was bringing me back to Scripture of how marriage is, and it's sacred, and it's a vow, and you have to work very hard at it. And I tried to go through forgiving, and I tried to go through counseling. We've done marriage counseling, and the marriage counselor basically told me unless he's willing to stop drinking, the problem's never going to correct itself. He doesn't think he has a problem.
Okay, so what specifically is your question of us? Well, don't you think
how do you know when to stay or go? And am I supposed to be waiting for God to tell me that through the Scripture? Because I feel like I'm not following what his will for my life is if I'm not hearing him, and I feel like I'm disrespecting God's will for my life if I'm not hearing him, and now I'm torn between what I should be doing to help my kids out if this isn't the spot of where I'm supposed to be.
So
I feel like I'm making the Scripture make me crazy in a sense where I'm saying I'm supposed to stay. I don't hear God telling me to go, so I should stay. I should try and make this work and try and see if I can fix this.
One of the things you're going to need
either.
You're going to need to do is just listen just for a little bit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you a question. What has your response been to your kids when they have indicated that they, wish you had done something that you haven't protected them? What was your response to them? What have you said to them?
I apologized to them. I told them that there's no rule book on how to be a parent, and that in that situation, I thought the best thing was to try and make the house peaceful, because I don't think my husband would be the type of person that would leave. I don't think he would be accepting that he did something wrong and leave. I think his attitude would be is I don't have to leave. And I think staying in the house with him knowing I wanted a divorce would make that situation more volatile. So I almost sacrificed trying to make it look like the marriage was great so my husband would be good to the kids at the sacrifice
You
of
said
myself.
this is what you went over with your kids when they indicated that they sometimes were hurt by him when you weren't looking and stuff?
Yeah, I told them that their father is not the type of person that would just leave, and that we would have to live in a house that would probably make him drink more now that he knew that the marriage wasn't working or was over.
Well, here's what I'm gonna ask.
I felt he would be more
Dave,
abusive to them verbally.
right. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Dave and John to weigh in on this, but I just want to say that I don't know what you can do about your husband's drinking, but I think there's some really great work that you can do and need to do with your kids, so that no matter what happens now, you end up with a relationship with them.
Well,
And that's my most important thing.
Okay.
Well, part of what you've got to do is stop seeing the only alternative as divorce,
Right.
because there's other steps that you can take that are preliminary to divorce. Drawing a clear boundary with him in terms of his behavior is important, and asking him to either get some help with it and understand it, or move out is a beginning step, but at least it's a step to go on record that you don't want. I would even say I don't want to divorce you, but I don't want to live with you in the way that you're living, and the kids don't want to live with you.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, and at least start at that point. And it sounds like you jumped from the frustration of where you're at to divorce, and that seems like too big of a step, and so you back away from it, and just set the boundary and see what happens when you do that, and then move forward and add up the ante gradually as you deal with him and his resistance.
John, in the short amount of time we have, what's your best for her? What do you think she ought to do next?
Well, I really like what Dave was saying about, because I did hear, Julia, that you feel like it's like totally enmeshed with him or divorced, and there's a lot of steps in the between. The Bible just talks about.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, I mean, when you read, for example, in Galatians, it says each person must bear their own load. Well, he's not bearing his load. Being a functional alcoholic, you're bearing the load. And so when you say, if you keep drinking like that, then I'll need you to move somewhere. I want you to stay parenting with me, and I want you to be all that, but it's not good for me and the kids. If you ever decide that you have a drinking problem, love to talk about that with you, but you've got to protect that. Now, I have another piece, though. I want to challenge you a bit about how you're handling the conversation with the kids, Julia.
Yes.
They are hurting and angry, and you basically just justified and explained your actions. That's sort of an apology, but honestly, it's sort of not. I want you to go back and say, I don't want to justify myself why I did it. I want to hear your pain. Tell me everything. Tell me how scared you got. Tell me how frightened you got. Tell me about your anger. I just want to listen. You'll go a long way to healing the kids.
1-800-NEW-LIFE. Call us. We want to help.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.